We are so excited today to welcome our guest, Ms. Belinda Wilson, the president of the Bahamas Union of Teachers. And so we are going to get started as we prepare for the back to school season. Um, my name is Deidre Moss. I'm an educator, motivator, and a talk connoisseur. As we prepare for the new school year, we thought that it would be appropriate to talk about the state of education in our country and other related topics. We invited Belinda Wilson, as I said, to help us dissect this topic. And at this time, I will pass the virtual mic to our guest so that she can introduce herself.
I just want to say good afternoon to you and all others who are tuning in to the show. And it's a pleasure to be here with you this afternoon. And actually, I am Belinda Wilson, the president of the Bahamas Union of Teachers. But since I was on your show last, I'm now also the president of the Bahamas National Alliance Trade Union Congress, which is a group of unions and associations um, in the labor movement.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Wilson. Thank you for that introduction. And before we begin, if you're tuning in from our social media page and you just joined us, like and share this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel using the links on our page. We need your support to continue these talks. Also, if you think there's something that we should be talking about, feel free to let us know. We do want to hear from you. Let us know if you would like to advertise on our platform or sponsor our program. And a disclaimer, I also want to express that the views shared by our guests are their own and does not necessarily reflect the views of the host or the platform. With that, let's get into our talk. And so, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? I know we, for the most part, you're a well-known person, but can you give us some insight into your background or briefly talk about the work that you've been doing, or if there's any update you would like to share?
Well, I am a teacher, and I've been in the field of education for 33 years. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. I'm a sports, not only athlete, coach, but sports enthusiast. And I'm proud to be the president of the Bahamas Union of Teachers and the BNATUC because it's very important for workers and employees to have advocates for their rights. I'm pleased that we've completed our fourth for the BUT industrial agreement last year, and the teachers and our members are getting the benefits of that agreement. And we look forward to new agreements and better working conditions for our members going forward.
Thank you for sharing that. And I also want to mention to those who are joining us on whatever platform you're using, because we are live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. So if you want to add your comments, feel free to share your comments. We would like to hear from you. And so that brings us to my next point. In reference to school opening, we're in the month of August, September, usually, typically, generally represents the reopening of schools. So, how are you and teachers preparing for the reopening of schools? And are you satisfied with the current school conditions?
Well, first of all, I'm going to say offhand, school is opening for teachers August the 21st and August the 28th for students. And we're not pleased at all that school is opening so early. We know that there are a certain number of contact hours that the teachers and students should have, but we're of the view that every year as we look, um, education seems to be inching up the time closer. So we're of the view that definitely, um, if the time does not change for this new school year, definitely we are advocating for and recommending later dates for next year, which we've done for this particular year. And we're still in discussions actually with the Minister of Education and her team about the opening of school. And what we also see as a disadvantage to the early opening would be unable to get their children ready for school if they are um, going to depend on their salaries for August. So school is opening a week prior to payday for teachers, and it's opening on payday for students. So we don't think that that is the best fix, because parents do depend on their salaries in order to make sure that the children have uniform, have their books, have all of the equipment and material that they would need. And the same way for teachers. Teachers need to get ready themselves for their work, but teachers also have their biological children that they would need to ensure that their children they have the finances or the funds to get their own personal children prepared. So we're not pleased at all about that. And we are not pleased that even going into the new school year, we have hundreds of teachers who've not received payments for summer school from last year, for extracurricular activities that they would have done over the last year, and some in some instances even the year before. We have persons who have done responsibility allowances, like their subject coordinators, level heads. They may have done additional marking or invigilations. So we have a lot of outstanding payments for teachers, and the teachers are not pleased about it. So in fact, we've had a survey, and we've had 94% of our teachers who have voted to do some form of industrial action for the opening of school. So we're going to have a meeting as early as a few days before school opens, and we will decide what level of industrial action we're going to do, and we are preparing for that, for the opening of school. And I don't want the public to be surprised, because it could very well be on the first day of school.
Oh, wow. So that is surprising to hear that educators are faced with these challenges so close and so near to the reopening of schools. And could you repeat, when is school slated to be reopened?
For the teachers, Monday, August the 21st, and for
Okay.
students, Monday, August the 28th. So it's
Okay.
very early. Our recommendation is for teachers to come on Monday, August the 28th, and the
Okay.
children come on September the 4th, which will give both teachers and parents ample time to prepare themselves better.
Okay. All right. Okay, so if we have any educators, if you're tuning in, if you're watching, please add your comments. We would love to hear from you today. And so this brings us to our next point. And you're talking about preparation, parents having to prepare for back to school and the reopening of back to school being so near to typical government payday. So how can parents prepare for school? I know you touched on that a little bit, but how do you think parents can prepare for back to school within this environment?
Well, they can prepare, not only providing the uniforms or books or bags and material, but I believe that they can prepare their students by speaking to them, talking, because right now they're in summer mood, and they are playing and they're visiting their friends and family maybe in the family islands or in the United States or elsewhere in the world. So in order for them to be prepared for school now, they have to be mentally prepared. So that's definitely an important part. And they need to also speak to them about safety, since we've had so many rapes, and we had abduction of children, school age children, and assaults on them, physical and sexual assaults. So they need to speak to their children about being mentally prepared to go back into the classroom and the way that they should behave, to mind their manners, but to also be safe and to know that they're not to go into into a vehicle or to go anywhere with someone who's a stranger to them, who they don't know, because safety must be utmost right now in the minds of parents to make sure that their children are alert to what is going on out there.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing those very important tips. As we look to the reopening of back to school, there are going to be a lot of kids on the road. Sometimes we have some children who may have to walk to school. So we have a lot of different factors that come into play. So those safety tips are definitely needed. And so as we think about education, what is your view of the state of education in the country?
Well, the state of education in the country, they, they are trying, but there's so much more that needs to be done. So, yes, right now they are managing in education, but we don't see any new and creative ideas. And when you talk about education, educators and Ministry of Education and Department of Education officials must stay on the cutting edge because, for example, there's a lot of discussions now about IA. So you have the AI, artificial intelligence. I believe by now, education officials should have already engaged union officials and stakeholders about artificial intelligence and what role they see artificial intelligence playing in education in the Bahamas, what impact it will have on teachers teaching, what impact it will have on students learning, and what policies should be implemented as it relates to what artificial intelligence is able to do at this moment and what it will be doing in the future. So, yes, education is managing. So, yes, schools will be open, students will attend schools, teachers will teach, but there's so much more to education than just the basic.
Thank you for sharing that. And again, I just want to reach out to our viewers, those who may be tuning in on different platforms. If you have a comment, please share. We would like to hear from you. And thank you for mentioning that we're in the age of technology, and so keeping abreast of what's going on, and certainly the impact of artificial intelligence is definitely something to keep a finger on as well. So thank you for sharing that and for mentioning that. And so we look at the curriculum because it's there's been a lot of talk, but what is your view on the current school curriculum?
Well, okay, there has been some movement with the Ministry, the Department of Education on curriculum revision, and they have released curricula for one or two subjects within the last 2 years. But when you speak about the curriculum, the curriculum must keep pace with current affairs. It must keep pace with what is happening in education, not only in the Bahamas and the region, but throughout the world. So, so we're of the view as a union that curriculum revision is something that should be ongoing. And what we do not agree with what has happened with curricula, the revision of curriculum, the curriculum previously, is that the ministry officials work mostly on the curriculum and then they launch the curriculum. We're of the view that your teachers' aides, your guidance counselors, your librarians, parents, students do not have sufficient input in the curriculum revision and preparation. So we believe that education can do well to invite stakeholders from the various sectors to the table when the curriculum is, once they have a draft, to send it out to ensure that there's input coming from all around.
Yeah, well, definitely that's very important when you think about those persons who work closely with an item. You would want to get input from those who understand, who actually have intimate knowledge of something. You would want those persons sitting at the table. So that's very, that's key. That's important. Because they're the ones who are going to have firsthand knowledge. So I want to go to a comment by Dr. Michelle Rancher, who says, as we are in the age of technology, so she's referring to your commentary on AI. She says, as we are in the age of technology with AI being on everyone's mind, what do you feel is needed to ensure that students are able to think critically while remaining authentically Bahamian? I don't know if you want to take that question or if you want me to repeat it.
Okay, I think it goes back to my comments earlier. AI is here and it's here to stay. So education, the Ministry of Education must then get on board to ensure that the curriculum, the policies and strategies would be amalgamated with AI, and policies must be put in place that governs how we teach using AI and the use of AI and technology throughout the educational system. So definitely, it's important, and a discussion has to be held, and all of the stakeholders need to be around the table.
Well, I definitely agree with you on that one. As it pertains to any discussion, when you're talking about um, revisiting anything, if you're looking at a policy as it pertains to any matter, you want to get capture those persons who are intimately involved with the process. And so I want to get to your concerns. Have teachers voiced any concerns regarding school or related issues as we move toward the start of a new school year?
Well, we always have the concern of, is the physical structure of the schools ready? Yeah, were there repairs done? Is the school environment ready for the acceptance of students and teachers? So that's always a concern. Um, the Ministry of Education had a survey that they sent out to teachers, and one of the top things that teachers were concerned about, in addition to the curriculum and respect not given to them and salaries, they had a major concern about funding for school material and equipment. So just for them to put up their charts and their to get their classrooms ready. So through a committee which I serve on, a Ministry of Education committee, teachers were to receive $250 for them to get school supplies. We've not yet received that, but school is opening in less than 3 weeks. So that's definitely a concern. Teacher shortage is always a concern because when your school is not properly staffed or adequately staffed, then it puts a strain on the various departments. And what people, I think, miss when we argue about not having sufficient teachers, what I think they miss is that you would have a number of students who are unable to be taught that subject for that school year because the teacher is not available, or the teacher is not there. So it puts a strain on the whole operations of a school. So definitely, we're concerned about school readiness, the physical structure. We're concerned about funds to make sure that our classrooms are ready. and we're concerned about if there are going to be sufficient teachers for the opening of the school year. Although I want to pause at this time to welcome all of the new teachers who are going to be joining us from the University of the Bahamas. We have some who are going to join us from other Caribbean countries, and we do have a group that's coming to us from Cuba. So I want to pause at this time to welcome all of the new teachers for the new school year 2023 to the profession of professions.
Welcome to our new teachers. Education is definitely, I love the field of education. So, welcome to our new teachers. Education is a wonderful place to be. I want to get to a comment by Dr. Michelle Rencher. She says, considering the high rate of Bahamian brain drain, what are your thoughts on creating programs that encourages students to return from the US, Canada, and globally? Perhaps having Bahamians of the diaspora to return to add to the teaching shortages.
Well, I can say to you that I believe that the Ministry of Education should do an audit of all of our students who've gone off, let's say probably in the last 10 years, to attain a degree in education. And they should look at what is their specialization. And I believe that they should offer them a posting to return home and incentives. But let me say this. When you are going to return home for $25,200 salary and for the disrespect that you would get from educators and even persons at the Ministry and Department of Education, when you have to fight to have desks and chairs placed in your classroom, when you have to sit out and march on the street because mold is in your classroom, but then they turn around and cut your salary, I don't think that's attractive to persons who can go into a classroom in another place and the salary is tripled. They have more than enough supplies. They have a small class size, and their views, their opinions, and their recommendations, not only from them, but from their union, is respected. How do you really um, compete with that? So, education has to go back to the drawing board, look to see what the other countries, not only in the region but in the world, is doing for their educators and try to improve the benefits and the incentives for educators. That's the only way they're going to return home. Other than that, they're not going to come back to the Bahamas. Sadly, that's the reality.
Yeah, definitely. You want to think of because when she mentioned that we talk about brain drain and wanting to have our brightest, our best minds come and give back, but it has to be attractive, you know. So I'll leave that right there. But would you like to add anything else to concerns of our teachers? You talked about teachers, and this has been always an ongoing thing with teachers having to take money out of their own pockets and prepare the classroom because sometimes you're dealing with kids and you want to make the classroom appealing to kids, and sometimes you have to take money out of your I have many educators in my family. You have to take money out of your own pockets to get that class prepared for your students in August, September, so that class will be nice and students will be happy and feel comfortable coming back to school. Nobody's giving you
I
that
look,
money. That money comes out your own pocket.
I look forward to the day as a union president for the large majority of the public school teachers from Grand Bahama to now. I look forward to an August where I can be interviewed and say the schools are ready. The teachers are fired up and ready to go. We have sufficient materials and equipment, and we have adequate staffing. I look forward to that day, and I hope it comes very soon. But I think the modus operandi of the Ministry of Education remains the same.
Okay. So, new projects, new initiatives. I know that you're a woman who's always on the go. And do you have any projects or initiatives that you would like to share?
Well, internally, for the Bahamas Union of Teachers, we are in the midst of building a new Walkers Hall, and that will be a convention hall. So that's investment for the Bahamas Union of Teachers. We have a pension plan that we are going to expand in a few months. But what we are looking at in terms of membership, in our constitution for the union, we have a section that deals with associate members. So we're going to make a deliberate effort to engage the University of the Bahamas students, student teachers. And what we're going to do is we're going to build a youth arm of the Bahamas Union of Teachers. We want to make the youth arm strong. And so I've already identified some teachers, and others have already said, I will work along with you. So very soon, we're going to engage the University of Bahamas and other um, educational institutions, and we're going to identify our teachers who are already members of the Bahamas Universities who are 35 and under, so that we can start to build on what it is that we have presently. So I believe that is going to really change the face of the union. What we're doing too is we have 4 Toastmasters clubs. So we're going to make sure that our Toastmasters clubs remain president distinguished, and we begin to continue to expand and increase our membership with them. We have a very vibrant Bahamas Union of Teachers Status of Women's Committee. So our committee has joined hands with other nonprofit organizations, and we've done donations of clothing and food drive to various institutions, one of them being Foam with Candy Gibson. So what we did with her a few months back, just about 2 or 3 months back, um, we were able to put together professional clothing for women, because we realize that there are some women that are out there who have challenges. And so even some of them may have to leave their homes quickly without their clothing, and they would want to go on a job interview. So you can't go on a job interview looking, as if you're going to a party. So we were able to make sure that we were able to dress a good number of women, who Foam was able to get the clothing, shoes, their suits, bags, to ensure that their jewelry, to ensure that they're well ready and prepared for their interviews. And there were a few other organizations that we partnered with. We also partnered with the Straw Vendors Business Association, and we were able to make donations to the AIDS camp. So we're doing a lot of outreach, because we believe that we're not just here as a trade union, but also to reach out to the less fortunate and to work along with other organizations to make life better for persons who may be in the vulnerable groups.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that you do community outreach and you also look back and reach out to those who are in need. Thank you for sharing that. And I want to again remind persons who are viewing, if you have any commentary, please feel free to add your comments to our session. And so this brings us to our fast talk segment, Ms. Wilson. And we want to give you about 60 seconds to answer each of our questions. So the first question is, what is the general level of excitement for the start of the new school year among teachers? It's a new school year.
I think the morale is low. The morale is low because mentally, teachers are they burnt out, they're frustrated, especially like I said earlier, with you've worked already, you need your funds to prepare yourselves and your children. You even wanted to enjoy your holiday that you couldn't enjoy because you're waiting for your funds. So this school year is starting off on a low note. Sorry to say that, but it is.
Oh, wow. As we consider the state of education in the country, is there anything you think can be done to improve the current education system?
Well, I must say we now have a new acting director of education, and she is making an effort, I must say, to reach out to me as the president of the union. So our communication lines are open. Sometimes we communicate 4 or 5 times per day. She is open to recommendations, and sometimes she would even bounce some suggestions off of me and say, "What's your thought about that? Are we on the right track? How can we improve this? Would teachers support this idea?" So definitely, that is a plus for the Department of Education at this time. But there's much more work to be done, and the work must be done not only in the acting director opening the lines of communication with the president, but that needs to trickle down to the officers and the personnel in the Department and Ministry of Education. And definitely the like we said earlier, the curriculum changes and development, we need to be a part of that. And incentives, benefits, and improvements for teachers must also be a part of the improvements for education. But we are here, the Bahamas Union of Teachers, we are ready, willing, and able to work along with the Ministry of Education and the Department of Education to ensure that education in the Bahamas is improved and we are the best that we can be in the Bahamas.
And based on the amount of investment that is channeled into education alone, do you think that we value education?
I think there's a lot of rhetoric around the value of education, and we do get the lion's share of the national budget. But if you look at the line items in the budget, it's for salaries, it's for maintenance, insurance. But when you look at professional development and training for teachers, it's lacking. When you look at grants or scholarships for teachers, it's lacking. Sabbaticals for teachers, that's lacking. So, how do you keep your employees on the cutting edge of education if you're not putting funding into training, professional development, scholarships, grants, tuition? Because that is what's going to keep your educators um, relevant to what is happening in the world of education. And once our educators stay relevant and their professional development and training is ongoing, then that improves our teaching methods, that improves our strategies, and then that improves the impartation of knowledge to our students, which then means that our students would have better examination results. Our students would be more knowledgeable and more educated in order for us to have a more educated and literate society. So much more work to be done.
And if you were to compare the state of education in our country to that of our regional counterparts, what would be one of your key takeaways?
Sadly to say, I'm in communication with my counterparts in Trinidad, Barbados, Bermuda, Jamaica, Guyana, and the cries and the concerns are basically the same. So there is the teacher shortage. There is the fight, the demonstrations for better pay and better working conditions. There is the overcrowding of the classrooms. There is the problem of insufficient funds for professional development and training. So throughout the region, the same problems exist. Sadly, again.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Wilson, for engaging with us in our Fast Talk segment. And I want to give you an opportunity to add anything if you feel like you've missed anything. Are there any additional comments that you would like to add as we come closer to the end of our session?
Well, I just want to say, as to our teachers, our members from Grand Bahama to Inagua, thank you for the work that you've done over the 2022-2023 school year. Thank you for the work you continue to do. Thank you for the support that you've given to me as the president and the executive committee. And thank you for the support you've given to the Bahamas Union of Teachers in general. So just stay tuned. I've already sent out the information to you. Stay tuned for our meeting so that we can decide as to what our cause of industrial action is going to be in a few weeks. I continue to work along with other executives on your behalf to ensure that your rights are protected. You get a fair pays pay for a fair pays work, and we just want to say thank you for being a part of the Bahamas Union of Teachers. And I want to say again, welcome to the new teachers who are going to be joining us within another week or two. And I say to all of you from Grand Bahama to Inagua, solidarity forever.
You know that's my favorite thing, Miss Wilson. You know that.
Yes.
So Vivian Pitt is joining us from Jamaica, and she says this is a good topic. Greetings to you and your guests. Thank you so much, Vivian, for joining us today. As we're considering the return, the reopening of the new school year, and we're considering the state of education in our country. And Ms. Wilson mentioned that she's spoken to her regional counterparts as well, and the sentiments are similar. And it is very important that we consider our educators and consider the state of education as we prepare, to open the schools to our students. Our educators do matter. Our educators do matter. And so, Ms. Wilson, again, I just want to throw it back to you, just to make sure you covered everything. If you missed out on anything, um, I want to give you the opportunity.
Well, I want to say thank you to you for giving me this platform because it's really important for the union to have a platform such as yours, which is unbiased. You're just there, you're open, and like you say, can we talk about the state of education? And you always allow for the voice of the union to be heard. And I just want to say thank you so much. I see Melinda Green, one of our shop stewards in Grand Bahama, saying solidarity forever and good evening to all. And I think that's a good place for us to start. Solidarity forever. And I just want to let y'all know the union, the Bahamas Union of Teachers, makes us strong.
Definitely. And to your comment, well, this is what the platform is for. We want to look at the issues that impact our communities, and we want to take an unbiased approach. So anybody has the opportunity to give their input and share that this is an unbiased platform. And so I want to thank you for mentioning that. And I
Thank
want
you.
to thank you for sharing with us and coming on our platform. And I do want to check back in with you. Because
Definitely.
I know that you mentioned, you're considering how to approach the upcoming new year, considering the upcoming reopening of the school year and the conditions, and moving forward, how you're going to approach or what type of action you're going to undertake. So I definitely like to check in with you, and I will definitely be reaching out to you again. And I want to thank you for your time. I know that you're super busy. You're probably working right now.
No, Shitty, I'm on vacation.
You're on
My sister,
vacation.
yeah, I'm in the US. My sister
Typical
said to me,
educator.
I believe you're the only president on vacation with work. So I guess, like I told her, anything for my teachers.
Typical educator. We always multitasking, juggling, doing all kind of different things. But I just want to thank you also, Miss Wilson. And I know your teachers share the same sentiment of your work level and the dedication and commitment that you have toward the Bahamas Union of Teachers. And I want to thank you for your dedication and commitment
Thank you
to
too.
the union and solidarity
Or
forever.
Apple.
So we're going to end on a good note. I know you shared, there are some challenges. There are some challenges that our educators are faced with for the upcoming school year. Melinda Green says, yes, she's always working.
Yeah, especially when Melinda can message me 2 a.m. in the morning.
So I know we talk about some challenges, but I know that you're committed to addressing these challenges. And
Oh, yeah.
and as we close, I want to get to the final. I just want to mention, because you talk about your commitment as the union to assisting those in need. So I just want to share this segment for a person. So at this time, I'd like to introduce our helping hand segment. So this is a moment that is, and if you want to partner with us, that'd be great. Ms. Wilson, this is a moment that we've dedicated to helping those in need. There are times when individuals reach out to me seeking assistance for a job or whatever it is. So we would like to feature those and connect them with people who can assist. So just briefly for a few seconds. Helping hand segment. And so, if there's no further commentary, Miss Wilson, that you would like to add, I think there's one more comment I want to get to before we close. Oh,
I
This
didn't know you
Melinda
had a
Green.
I didn't know that you had a helping hand segment. So I'll reach out to you so
Yes,
we have some further discussions about that because
yes,
maybe that's a project we can work on together. The Bahamas Union of Teachers,
yes.
Status of Women's Committee, and yourself.
Thank you so much, Miss Wilson. Thank you so much. This is Miss Green getting back at you. She's getting back at you. She knows she messages you early in the midnight hour. Miss Green, please let Miss Wilson get to rest. Okay. So this brings us to the end of our session. I want to thank Miss Green. Let's see Miss Green saying one more comment. Miss Green.
Okay, I will. What's left of it?
Thank you, Miss
Thank
Green.
you.
So this brings us to the end of our session. I want to thank you for tuning in and joining us. I would like to thank our guest, Belinda Wilson, for sharing her insight with us today. We want to remind you, if you want to advertise with us, let us know. Reach out to us. Our contacts are on the page. We want to grow, so grow with us. To those watching via social media, thank you for listening in. Like our page for future notifications of upcoming talks. Comment under our videos, let us know your thoughts, and let us know what you want us to talk about. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Can We Talk? Follow us on Instagram and Twitter using the addresses provided on our page. Remember, let's think, talk, do. Thank you, everybody. I'm Miss Wilson.
Solidarity forever.